Hello, my name is Sarah Roberts. I'm a former teacher of 11 years, and I have successfully transitioned out of education and into a career field of instructional design, working for corporate companies. It was a difficult transition, and I don't think I could have done it without a program that I attended and without proper guidance and a plan. And so, as I work in my instructional design job, it's essentially designing instruction for corporate, designing training for corporate companies. I have a lot of friends who are teachers who are also looking to leave the field of education because, as we all know, things have changed. Education has completely changed, and a lot of people are going through some traumatic situations. So my goal in this is, in my journey, is to create resources, to create a roadmap, to create a coaching sessions for teachers who are looking to transition and exit out of the classroom. It took me about 8 months to get to where I'm at. And like I said, if I didn't have a plan, I think it would have taken much, much longer. And so sometimes we don't have all that time. We don't have years, to sit around and apply to jobs and continue to suffer in the work that we do as educators. And so, this hopefully will help you kind of speed the process up a little bit, give you some guidance. This here, your new beginning, my company is Upskill to Abundance, and this is just an eJournal. And the purposes of the video today, I'm going to just kind of take you through a high level overview of the journal, how you could use it, different usages of it, and just clarify some things as kind of like foreshadowing, looking forward. I plan to create sessions, like a phase 1 coaching session, a phase 2 coaching session, and have it personalized to you. So this is just, this journal is more of a high level overview, but I will be having coaching sessions on each phase in the Career Transition Roadmap. And it can be personalized to you. So stay tuned for that. That's in production right now. But for now, let's go through just a quick high-level overview of what this is and what this looks like. I start this off with discovering your why. So why are you choosing to do this? And allowing this to kind of guide you and lead you through your journey, because transitioning is not just very difficult as far as how do I apply and how do I set my resume up and how do I upskill and all of these things that go into finding a new career path that you'll be happy in after teaching. But it's also very emotional. It's also very traumatic for some of us. For me specifically, I went through a lot of trauma in the classroom, and leaving the classroom was emotionally tolling. It took so much out of me because of the guilt that I had. And so I constantly was doubting and questioning what I was doing every step of the way. And so I think this, just understanding my why, my reasons why, I had to put it on a sticky note on my computer. Why am I doing this? For me, my why was my children, my husband, my mental health. That was the most important thing to me. And so on and so forth. So really kind of let this be your driver. Let this be your guide, your car taking you through this entire path. Let this be the steering wheel, whatever analogy you want to give it. Okay. And so in this journal, I give you spaces to I want to make it productive. I don't want it just to be a bunch of text on a page. I want this to be useful for you. So if you can write your why down, I give you some spaces to do that. So reflect on a time in teaching. What aspects did you love? What aspects did you not love? Now dig a bit deeper. What are you seeking in this potential new career? Financial freedom, new challenges, new opportunities, more time with your family, all of the above. And then with a combination of the above list, write your why. And so you would write your why statement here and kind of let that, and this why statement can change. It can shift, it can change, because your journey is not going to be the same. So as you notice, this career transition roadmap, I kind of identify, and this is all based on what I've been through, what I learned in the program that I took to transition me out of education. And also, I have about 2,000 connections on LinkedIn. And so I really utilize a lot of my spare time networking. And even though I have a job in instructional design, I'm never not networking on LinkedIn because I think it's fun. I think it's fun to connect with like-minded individuals. And so I talk a lot with career coaches. I talk a lot with transitioning teachers. And, there's a lot of steps to this process. And so this is where I've kind of built this framework. And this guide will go through that framework. So I do some self-reflection, goal setting, understanding transferable skills. So what are some skills in education that are applicable to corporate, that are applicable to even ed tech, universities? What are some skills that you bring with you? And this is definitely not a single list. There's more than just this, but I would say these might be my top 6. And giving you opportunities to reflect on your skills. And I think by doing this, writing all of these things down and really reflecting, it's going to help you kind of target the job that you want to go into, because it's a lot. There's a lot of different jobs out there that I didn't even know existed. So I would say utilize these reflections and really be serious about it. Take it seriously. Not that you're not, but take it seriously as far as do the work, because this is going to help you target and open yourself up, expand yourself. Maybe there's something out there that you've never heard of that doing this might help you kind of guide you towards that a little bit. And SMART goals. So I think that setting goals for yourself is very, very valuable. It worked for me. I set SMART goals for myself. It made me establishing a few different goals, maybe a goal for the end of the week, a goal for the end of the month, or a goal for, every 3 months. What is that going to be? And these are going to change. These are going to shift and transform. So making sure that your goal is specific, achievable, measurable, relevant, and time bound. So it needs to be realistic. You need to be able to measure your progress, and instead of just mass applying to a bunch of jobs every single day, hoping one sticks, you have to have a plan. You kind of have to have a direction. If something's not working, there might be a reason why. Let me change it. Let's measure this. Let me go back to basics and reset a SMART goal or reset something. So this here is a goals tracker. It allows you to kind of set up an action plan to reach your goal. So maybe your top 3 goals, which is what you have kind of up here. And so what is your to-do list? What's step 1? In order to reach your goal, what are some steps you need to do to gain access to that? I think transitioning out of education, there's a lot of resilience that needs to be established. I didn't know it in the very, very beginning. I was like, oh, okay, I'll just do this class. I'll just do this course and, it'll work. It'll happen. It didn't work that way. There were divots in the road. There were bumps in the road. And I had to find life in those divots. I had to, was it a roadblock? Was it something that I had some growing pains? Absolutely. Did I doubt myself? Did I question? Did I wish I had never done this? Yeah. But anything hard is not, anything difficult is going to take time. And anything new is going to be difficult. And you are going to have situations where you question yourself, but don't allow that to stop you. You want to have some resilience. And so part of the process is establishing your mindset. So what are some common things that we experience as educators in the classroom? Other career coaches out there don't really have that perspective of what's it like in the classroom. Yeah, they can help you identify some target areas, but I think a lot of what's missing in their repertoire of support services is that there's not a ton of understanding on what we go through as educators in the classroom. So understanding the trauma, talk about high stress, burnout, challenging student interaction, systemic issues, that plays a lot into how we leave education, and that plays a lot into not leaving education, just sitting there and continuing to do it because it pays the bills. I'm mentally suffering on a daily basis. It's getting worse. Nothing's changing, but I have to stay for the kids. I have to stay for the students. But there's a lot more to life than just students. And so that was something that I had to really shift my mindset in. There's a lot more to life than the students. And so in the workshops that I'm designing, or I have almost ready, I will be kind of diving into a lot of that mindset work, and how we can cultivate steps to resilience. How do we develop a strong support system? How do we practice self-care? How do we embrace the change and set those realistic goals and change the goals? If the goals aren't working, we can move and change and shift those goals. Part of that work is positive affirmations. So when you make a significant life change, you have to have a lot of self-talk. I know that sounds obvious, but it's actually harder to have positive self-talk and positive affirmations because, at least for me and people that I've spoken to in the classroom, you didn't really have time for positive affirmations. You didn't have time to sit and reflect. You were go, 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 go without 5 seconds in the day to even use the bathroom. I mean, hello, that's a problem. That's a lawsuit problem in corporate. It shouldn't work that way. So we need to, as a former educator, probably present educators and former educators, rewire some of our thought patterns. And the way that we do this is with repetition, because with repetition, the way you rewire your thought patterns is that you're essentially changing neural pathways in your brain, and that's not going to happen overnight. And that's where we come up to the cultivating resilience. It doesn't happen ever overnight. You're going to have a day where you're thinking it's never going to work out. I just go back to the classroom. Don't give up when it gets hard, because growth comes with, you want to fuel growth. It comes with difficult situations, surpassing and getting past those difficult situations, right? So practice makes better. Never practice makes perfect. Practice makes better. So I've listed some examples of positive affirmations you can have, and reflect. Write down some affirmations. Make this part of your, and you can continue this down on notebook paper if you want. But this is just kind of to guide you. Make this part of your daily habit. Wake up 5 minutes in the morning, write down some positive affirmations, and start your day. That's internal motivation. You need to have that. Imposter syndrome is huge. I'm sure most or some of you have heard of imposter syndrome. I knew what it was in education, but going into corporate, and even just not even getting into corporate yet, in the very beginning, learning and upskilling, I was experiencing imposter syndrome in a variety of different ways that I was not used to. It wasn't the same type of imposter syndrome I felt in the classroom. It expanded itself in different ways. Know that this is normal, and know that you can challenge your negative thoughts. And these are some just little tips and tricks of how you can overcome the imposter syndrome. That is inevitable. It will happen. My boss and CEO, I was talking to her the other day about this, and I said, yeah, thank you so much for your feedback, your critical feedback on my project. It means a lot. And I opened up to her and I said, I've had a lot of imposter syndrome lately. And she's like, really? She's like, I know I'm the CEO, but I have imposter syndrome every day. So that just shows you that, everyone has it in some capacity. And so here's a little reflection space, tackling imposter syndrome. So you can kind of take what you learned up here and incorporate it, and maybe talk about down here, what you're grateful for, how you're feeling today, something that you want to do today, something you want to accomplish, whatever day it may be, and do a little reflection. How can you tackle imposter syndrome? What are some things you can do? Acknowledge, what's the imposter syndrome I'm feeling right now? Acknowledge it. Look it in the face. Don't be afraid of it. It's time to be realistic, looking towards your journey ahead. So this image is huge. It's very impactful, and it's realistic, and it's what everyone goes through. So just some quick little self-reflection. What do you notice in the image below? I like to picture myself as this person looking forward. You want to get to your goal, right? But there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, right? There's going to be some holes. You're falling into the pit of despair. And oh my gosh, this is never going to work for me. This is never going to happen. And yet some things start to happen. But you're never going to reach this goal up here if you don't have a plan. If you just think you can apply, you're never going to be able to crawl out of the pit, because if something's not working, there could be a reason why. So you want to do a lot of that inward look, inward self-reflection. What are some things that I might need to change? So your journey as an educator has prepared you for the changes and challenges ahead. I like to have a little motivating sentence up here on each phase that we're looking at identifying. So phase 2, industry research and skill gap analysis. Speaking from experience, when I was thinking about leaving teaching, I hadn't left yet. Obviously, I didn't have a job. I needed to keep money flow for my family. But I had no idea what I wanted to do. I would Google some things, a customer service success coach, or I don't know. I had no idea what existed outside of the world of education other than be a manager, get an HR job, I don't know, be a professor, or, that's education. I just didn't know. I was not familiar with corporate. And that's kind of where I was targeting, was corporate world, just because I knew they paid more to start, for starters. So you want to research. You want to do your research. LinkedIn's a really great place to start, but you can't skip these important steps. You want to think about what are your strengths and what are your interests. You want to reflect, write it down. What are you passionate about? Is it ed tech? Is it admin? Is in teaching, at least? Was it curriculum development? Did you focus more on designing and developing curriculum, or did you really love engaging with students and counseling them? Did you love, did you have a day where you were working in admin or filling in for an admin, or were you really connected to technology in the classroom? Were you like a technology expert on your campus? Allow your interests to guide your research. Think about that, or even a combination of both. For me, I'll speak for myself. I was really into technology. I loved learning new technology, like different things you can do in the Google Classroom world, or Seesaw, incorporating reels, developing reels with my students, like make a reel on XYZ topic, make an Instagram post on da-da-da-da-da. Like, I really loved being in and up with the times with technology. It was fun. I also loved developing curriculum. I loved Canva in the classroom. OMG. It was my jam. I did some Powtoons work. I didn't really have a ton of time for Powtoons development, but I did do some, and I really loved it. And I didn't know that instructional design incorporated technology, developing curriculum, using technology in the curriculum, and building learning experiences for adults, not kids. And you could work 100% remote as an instructional designer. So that was something that piqued my interest, but I didn't know about instructional design. I just knew I liked those things. So this can be a really good baseline for yourself. Explore different industries. Don't limit yourself. I liked instructional design because I really connected with it, but I didn't allow that to stop me from looking, okay, well, what about learning and development specialist? That's a thing too. Maybe I can target being a learning and development specialist. It is different than instructional design. Some elements are the same, but it's pretty different. So there are other things out there. So you may find exactly what you're looking for where you didn't think to look for it. Understanding industry requirements. So maybe now you've identified potential industries, dive deeper into specific requirements, go onto websites like LinkedIn and Glassdoor, and go into their qualifications, the job listings. They'll tell you the qualifications that you need to have, the tech that you need to know. You're going to have a really hard time just leaving education and thinking you can get a job like that. It doesn't happen that way. It's going to take you a long time. I'm not saying it never happens, but you want to set yourself up for success. You don't want to just go into this thinking, oh, I can just start applying with my teacher resume and they're going to hire me because I've got tons of skills. Can't you see on my resume? Yeah, but now you're in competition with people who also might have been a teacher and have a ton of corporate experience and also applying to the same job you are. Why would anyone take you over them? And these are just some difficult conversations you have to have with yourself. And it's not any slight against you. That's just the reality. I've spoken to recruiters in the field and they have told me these things. I worked next to a recruiter when I was a learning and development specialist. I worked next to the recruiting department and we would have these conversations all the time. So upskilling, you must upskill. And what I mean by upskill is you need to learn, identify the industry that you want, and understand what they require you to be able to do. But then you have to prove to them that you know these things. And we'll get into that later, but it's a little bit about building a portfolio of samples of work, depending on the industry that you want to get into, obviously. Networking. So networking with professionals is invaluable, but it's a two-way relationship. Don't just think you can say, hey, I'm looking for a job. Hey, give me a job. You want to make it quality. You want to almost like build a friendship where you're sharing ideas back and forth, and then opportunities come. Every single job that I ever had post-teaching, after teaching, I earned because of not applying to a job. It was because of a connection I had, a quality connection. I applied to probably 400 or 500 jobs, and I maybe got 3 to 4 interviews out of those 400 to 500 jobs. And I didn't get those interviews. The interviews I got and the jobs I got came from just connecting with people on LinkedIn and engaging in online professional environments. So highly recommend doing that starting now. Like start building your LinkedIn up, because that is where people go to look at you, to get your professional. And I didn't know LinkedIn. I got into education before LinkedIn was ever a thing. So I had never used it. And so there's tons of resources out there that can help you with LinkedIn and how to make a good portfolio. I offer a coaching session on LinkedIn, best practice with LinkedIn, how you should set your LinkedIn profile up for best success. I can even give you that information if you're interested. So definitely LinkedIn. Consider further education or training. Depending on the industry you're in, you can YouTube it, you can piecemeal it together, completely fine. It'll take a lot more work on your part. It'll take a lot more structure. You can definitely do it. It's out there. There's so many free resources out there. So if you don't have the money to spend on a program that's already structured for you and has things built for you, I'll give you some free resources at the end of this presentation or this guide I haven't included in here. So yes, like I said, tips and tricks, LinkedIn learning, huge. I think LinkedIn offers a 1-month free trial for their premium subscription, and you get LinkedIn Learning, which is like literally hundreds of videos for free that you can access, and you can put a certificate on your LinkedIn profile saying, I am skilled in, or I have certification in Adobe, as just take the class on LinkedIn and you get your little certificate, and posting that on your LinkedIn profile shows recruiters, I know what I'm talking about. I have proof. I have taken a class. Here's my certificate. That's part of what they're looking for. Career analysis, self-assessment. We're kind of diving more into like a skills inventory. This is like the work part this is the information part. And this kind of helps you dive into, okay, now let me write it down. Let me explore my skills. What are some potential industries based on my skills, the characteristic, the roles, and then the skill application. And this kind of just helps in planning, you can think in your head, I think I like these jobs. But if you don't have it kind of written down, it might be hard to remember the requirements there. Job role analysis. Link together your jobs and your roles within the industry that interest you. And then you have your requirements and skills match. So you're kind of narrowing down for yourself what you're wanting to target. And then different networking opportunities, any additional training or qualifications that you can make note to yourself. Skill development, networking, and resume tips. So we kind of dive in a little bit deeper here into what is upskilling? Why is it important? Why is it necessary, to be honest, especially in today's day and age? I list on here different ways that you can upskill, how to select the right program, make sure it's relevant. You want to have accreditation and recognition. You want to make sure that it's legit, not some random, scheme or fraud, whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of different things out there. You want to make sure it's legitimate. There's, cost and financial aid. Yes, there are programs that cost money. There are programs that don't cost as much money, but still cost money. But then there's also tons of free resources. So you kind of have to figure out which one is works for you. It'll be different for everyone. Leveraging educational opportunities. Well, how do you use your educational opportunities to network, to get some practical experience? A lot of programs will have volunteer opportunities or internships where you can use on your resume and say, I was an intern I'm just going to use instructional designer in my head because it's the first thing I can think of, as an instructional designer at this company. And these are the tasks I did, had, and that adds to your experience. And then the job application process. I have a little section on here, resume writing 101. Just some tips. What is the ATS system? I didn't know about the ATS system until I started applying to jobs, kind of what you need to look for there. Some quick tips here. And then I had no idea this existed. Types of resumes. There are different types of resumes. There's a chronological resume, a functional resume, and a combination resume. Combination of both of them. There are strengths and weaknesses for each. And there are certain jobs that lean more towards one versus the other ones. So again, I give a little bit of synopsis in there, space for note taking. And I give some resources here to kind of start rewriting your resume. You should rewrite your resume. I say this because, obviously you need to update it, but really think about restructuring it and just starting from scratch, taking what you had in your old resume, obviously putting it in there. But you want to tailor your resume to the job you're applying for. It's really ineffective if you think you can use the same resume for every single job application. It's not going to come. And if it does come, it'll be a while. So really think about tailoring it. Different templates for different styles of resumes. And then I give you an example. This is one of my older resumes. And I kind of just give you an example. I chose to use a functional resume, which means that I used the language of the industry I was targeting, instructional design. I used that language to explain what I did in education, because a lot of what I did in education is what instructional designers do in corporate. They just use different language. So instead of saying, I was a teacher at this school district, and these are the different things I did as the teacher in this school district, I separated my skills out. So professional experience, I made as skills. So analysis, process, collaboration, design, development. And these are all the things I did in the classroom, but I put them into instructional design words. So for example, facilitated needs analysis meetings with stakeholders and SMEs with an end result design that boosted existing motivational gaps with targeted learners. So the learners are the students. The needs analysis meetings were my PLC meetings every Monday, where we analyzed assessments and thought about planning, for the next month, for the skills for the next month. So all these things were tailored to that. I gave you some quick little tips here in red, and that's just a functional resume example. There's tons, and if you purchase one of my courses, I go into more detail about the different types of resumes. Here's a resume checklist, fun little believe you can, and you're halfway there. And then the interview. So one of the top styles of methods of interviewing is called the STAR method. And recruiters actually and hiring managers specifically look to see that you're structuring your responses. So this gives you kind of some, gives you an example, and it gives you what each of the steps are. And here's some sample interview questions that come up often. some reminders. On average, it can take 4 to 8 months of applying to get hired. The holidays are slower for hiring because everyone's on a break or PTO. Hiring tends to pick up the pace after the new year. Mass applying doesn't tend to get work. You want to focus on quality over quantity. And then networking really does land jobs. So in fact, I had somebody reach out to me recently, one of my connections, and said that they had an opening up for an instructional designer. And if I had room for full-time work, that I should apply, and they'd love to get me into an interview. And this was just a connection. This was not, I did not know this opening of a job existed. So I then give you guys some resources: LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, edX, Code Academy, Project Management Institute, U.S. Small Business Administration Learning Center. They provide free business courses. The Applied Instructional Design Academy. This is the program I took, and it was amazing. Upwork. I don't know if you guys have heard of Upwork, but you can get some freelancing gigs to add to your resume. Just quick little, some of them are like a week-long project or like 4 weeks long. And it helps support the bills, because while you're looking for a job, I did this I quit teaching before I got a job, just because I had to leave because it was that bad for me. And I was able to, we were supported, financially, thank goodness. But I still had to, make some money. So this is a really good place for you to apply to some quick little jobs that'll get you some income. Devlin Peck is massive. If you're interested in instructional design, he also has a structured, it's called boot camp, a very good instructional design course offering that you could take. But he also has a ton of free resources on YouTube if you're interested or want to learn more about instructional design. Tim Slade is amazing. He also has he's a lead instructional designer, as well as Devlin Peck. And then Jill Davidian runs the Applied Instructional Design Academy. They're all really great instructional designers. I put this on here. Obviously, I'm biased but a lot of teachers actually go into instructional design because it's very, very close to what we did in the classroom. So Tim Slade has a really great, he's very present on LinkedIn, and so is Devlin Peck. So definitely check them out. Another thing I'm doing off to the side, just to make you some money off to the side, because as educators, we made so much content in the classroom that you could take that and you could sell it, and make some passive income for yourself. I am doing this right now. I'm actually creating new content right now to do this with. And I took a class on digital marketing master resale rights. So it's a digital marketing course that will help you kind of get into marketing yourself and starting maybe like a little side business. If you're interested in that, I can give you some information. Just contact me and let me know off to the side. So this was somewhat of a high-level overview of this eJournal. I tried to make it interactive. And please give me feedback. I would really appreciate all the feedback, because I'm really trying to give back to teachers. I feel a passion for it. My heart is still in the classroom, and it's sad how things have changed. And I'm really connecting with so many teachers who are leaving the classroom, and we all have very similar stories. So I would really love your feedback, and look to hear from you soon, and give me some critical feedback. I love the critical feedback as well. So thank you, and hope to work with you guys soon.